Hi everyone, my name is Ubaka Amaka. I'm a web developer and I'm a member of Eternity aekiti, DSCX2 and Women Tech Makers. And I'll be explaining my project using the technology Eternity blockchain. And the name of my project is RideArt, and RideArt is simply a convenient and safe taxi service whereby you have a private driver to pick you up and take you to your destination with the tap of a button on any device or smartphone. And we all know the problems about transportation in Nigeria. A lot of people have missed their interviews. A lot of people have gotten to where they want to be late, or because they have to wait for a public transport for the passengers to fill up before moving. Obviously, the public transport won't just take them alone, they have to wait for them. And so, which I just thought about it and I said, okay, yes, this problem is really a barrier to different things. So, what instead of waiting for like passengers to fill up in a public transport, why not just book a ride and ride that would conveniently take only you to your destination? So this is just what RideArt is all about. It's just a transport app that helps people. It's just one step away once you just write your information and yes, you are good to go conveniently and alone. So that's just what it is about. And during this project, I used the Sophia programming language for my smart contract. I used CSS, I used JavaScript, and my HTML. So let me explain my contract. Sorry, it's taking time. So this is my contract right here. First of all, we all know where before when starting a contract, you have to start with contracts and the name of your project. So this is its contract right at blah blah blah, and the record right is the information I want my app, that's the RideArt, to take. And obviously, if you want to book a ride, you have to have your name, your email, your location, your ride ID, and everything. And the record states, it's what we put in our state that represents all the data we want our smart contract to keep track of throughout its lifetime. And this is it here, the right. It's going to be map in a string of rides, and the user's rides will also map a list of rides to an address. And for the admin, we have, that's my address because I'm the admin, my admin address. And the entry point in it is a function that just states the default value of our state when the contract is deployed. So for my ride, we don't have any record yet, so there's nothing there. The user's right, nobody. And the admin, that is my own address. So this function right here is just like, it's a function that, because I'm the admin, so the rides, I want only all the rides. I want it to be only me that will be able to see all rides. If you're a customer or you're a user using it, you can't see everybody's rights. It's specifically so only me that's going to see the ride. And the call.color, you can see it here, requirement state.admin call.color. Call.color holds the present public address of the person using the blockchain. And yes, we have it. So it's going to be let users write list equals to map dot lookup default call dot color state dot users write. And the put function is used to put any data in your state. So we're about to, that's the ride ID, users write call dot color, that will equals to the new users list. And so entry point get users write map dot lookup default call dot color dot state dot users right. And the map lookup default enables us to check our map in our state. That is, if the person with a particular key or address exists, and allows us to return a default value if it doesn't exist. So entry point get right, and this function, that's the entry point get right, is if you want to search your information using your ride ID. All you have to do is just to input it and your information comes out. You can see ride ID being a string equals to ride switch mark.lookup the ride ID, that's in the state of the ride. And if your information is there, hopefully it will give you information, but if it's not there, you can see about there was no ride registered with this ID. And your entry point gets right only admin. Like I said, we'll see that. That's all about my smart contract. And let me go to my UI, that's HTML. Sorry. So the HTML, it's very, so I'll just keep it short and cool. So the HTML, I use Bootstrap for my HTML. I use Bootstrap, and this is a link where it goes to slide. This is linking it with my HTML CSS. So this place is just literally talking about the header. That is the nav icon, the menu icon, where you see things like your home, about. You can see home, my rights, statistics, request rights. That's just the header. So we used a list, and we used an unordered list, and then we used the list. And so this place is talking about the loader. We put a loader in between the welcome rights and my rights, like welcome to RideArt and my rights. So this is the loader here. This is it. And there is an input tag. That is, if you remember when I said in the smart contract that if you want to input, like look for information, look for your ride information using your ride ID, so you can just input in there and search for it, you find it there. And the admin statistics is not for the users, it's for me alone to be able to check all your rights. And so this model in Bootstrap is what we use to design our input form. That is your name, your mobile number, your email, your location, your destination. So when you fill it and request a ride, that's just all about it. And let me go to my CSS. So the CSS, there's nothing really much about the CSS. We just did the loader. Because the loader was not positioned well, so we just positioned the loader well. There's nothing much. And we have to make sure the animation, that's the WebKit frames, are okay. We know it's applied to give it a very good fixed and firm look of animation. So I'll be moving on to JavaScript. So the JavaScript, we have your let client equals to know that the instance of the contract and the contract address, and you can get your contract address, that is where your contract has been deployed, either on a file editor. The address you see there when it's being deployed, that is what I pasted here. And the contract source is my smart contract. And this function, my ride DOM, after I must have given all my element and ID, that's it. You can see my ride DOM, you have to create it. That this my ride DOM, it takes in the input, that is the name, mobile, destination, and everything. So you see, let's my ride equals to document.get element by ID, that's the ride DOM, the ID I give it. So we'll move to the card document. We say let card body equals to document dot create element. We can see it over here. So the ride ID, yeah, let's ride ID equals to, where is it? I'm coming, sorry. So I want to give it a text. Then I'll say let's ride ID text equals to the name, the email, the mobile, the location, everything. Then I will name it in an inner HTML. You can see it into a P. So card body, append child the ride ID text, append child the name, the email. That's how it's going to be. And so this function, my rights DOM, it's for when we want to get all the rights. So it's going to be document.get element by ID rights DOM, and that's just all about it. And let's just go to our the window dot add event lister is, let me put it in like when the browser has actually loaded the web page and I want the function to run. So it will be in an async function. And for the contract instance, we can actually get the methods we have used in Sophia and call them. So I would say let my right equals to await contract instance method dot get users ride will give you a decoded result. And why we put the decoded result is because if we just leave it that way without putting it, the result will not be decoded. So my ride DOM will automatically give you the ride dot name, the ride dot email, all the information it will give you there. And this particular side is the function if to allow only the admin to be able to accumulate and get all the rights. So we'll say let only admin, that's let only me be able to get the decoded result of all rights. If it's only the admin, it's true that it will give you. So let all right equals to await contract instance dot methods dot get right and give me the answer. So we're about to now let's create another function, and this function will actually allow us to place a ride. That is, it will actually allow us to request a ride. This let name equals to document with in our HTML file. We've already given it an ID, and this is the ID we give you, this name, email, mobile, location, everything, fill it. And this one says if name.string is not equal to an empty character, same as if email dot trim is not equal to an empty character. That is, you can't just fill in an empty space and it will not go. You have to insert something inside, and it will give you a new ride, that is the person's name, email, mobile, location, destination, and ride ID. And so far so good. The async function, we've talked about that. If you want to this async function, if you want to search for a ride using the ride ID, so it will show. Then document, this is the one for the input, that is your inner, the search head, the search body, the search form, and the last but not the least is the document dot get element by ID, that's search ride. We're actually linking together dots, like add this place dot add event list, and that is if you've actually inserted your right ID, it's automatically when you click the search ride, it will bring out your information. So that's that about the JavaScript. It's done. So thank you.